everybody. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. It's another episode of the DynastyPros DevyShow. Tonight, we are doing the Week 7 review. That's coming up next. All right, everybody, welcome back into another show. Tonight, looks like to start off, it's just going to be me and Andy Pham. Hopefully, Justin will join us here in a little bit. SC will be out tonight. He's on another show with I believe Dynasty Degens, talking IDPs. So he won't be on with us tonight. But let's go and jump right on into it. A little bit of Devy news here. Georgia tight end Brock Bowers going to be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. He had a high ankle sprain that he had surgery on. Kind of the same surgery that Tua had a couple years ago and Cedric Tillman had last year. So we're really looking at most likely SEC championship game at the earliest. That's probably what we're going to be looking at for him if Georgia were to make it there. Which that's not a foregone conclusion because he has bailed them out of a couple games so far this season.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like if they lose a game and they're not in the playoffs, you might have seen the last time in a Georgia uniform.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Another little bit of news: Brandon Ennis caught his first career pass the other day. It went for a 58-yard touchdown and looked like a nice little route and good explosion.
Yeah, it was nice. I was watching his tape, and of the 6 routes that he ran, he got open on most of them. He just the balls didn't get to him. Rather, it was quarterback issues or whatever the case was. So, at least he got off the duck and got a touchdown and a catch.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to. Hopefully, there's more to come from him. He was a big time drafted guy this offseason. A lot of people actually had him as the wide receiver 1 for his class. So hopefully that there's more to come from him.
I have a few shares of him. I have him in one C2C league and a couple of Devy leagues. I was getting a little worried, so I was happy to see that on Saturday.
Yeah, him and Cardinal Tate are going to be a monstrous duo for the next couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Big game of the week, Oregon against Washington. There's a lot to unpack here. Bo Nix had a great game. Michael Penix Jr. had a great game, which you'd expect from both those guys. It was really a back and forth type of contest. Washington won whenever Oregon missed a last second field goal, but both quarterbacks performed very, very well on Saturday. Also during that game, the running backs looked really good. Bucky Irving and Jordan James for Oregon, and then Dylan Johnson for Washington. Dylan Johnson is looking like a pretty decent Devy play going into this offseason. What do you think about him?
I think it's interesting. I think it all depends on who Washington gets as their quarterback. I think it's safe to say they're going to get someone from the portal, but if they get someone that can lead this team, I think he's someone that can rise up next year, to take pressure off whoever they have as a quarterback, and then with that receiving game with him, to step up. So he's a good little buy right now.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we're going to dive into those wide receivers that played in this game. Troy Franklin doing Troy Franklin things. Same with Rome Odunze. But Jalen Polk looked really good after McMillan wasn't able to give it a go.
Yeah, Troy Franklin. I've been trying to figure out who he reminds me of, and when I was watching that game, like it clicked. He's kind of like Brandon Cooks when he was in his prime. He's just he's got that speed. You know, he always gets open, finds a way to get open. He's a smooth route runner, just a big play guy. You know, he's someone that really it finally clicked for me. He's kind of like Brandon Cooks.
A little bit bigger, little bit
Yeah.
taller, but yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from there. Um, but I was I've been increasingly impressed with Jalen Polk. I know you're a Jeremy Bernard guy, but to each his own. I think they're probably going to be kind of rated along the same type of, um, kind of in the same range, just slightly different types of receivers. Just kind of depends on what you're looking for.
With McMillan virtually being injured or not playing the past 3 games, do you think he comes back next year, or do you think he's for sure gone?
I think he's gone. I don't think he can really. I mean, he's basically a kind of a borderline first round pick right now, anyways. So I don't see any reason for him to come back. I don't think there's much he can do to really improve his draft stock.
Yeah.
All right, the next thing, Caleb Williams. Yikes. He has not looked good the last 2 weeks, and Notre Dame really exposed him on Saturday. He looked kind of lost, and then throwing those 3 picks, those were not good balls.
Yeah, I think it's time that they focus on running the ball more. And Marshawn Lloyd's been effective every time he touches the ball, but they just refuse to give him the workload. And I think I think Caleb is I think he feels like he has to do everything on his own. And Notre Dame, I felt kind of schemed that, knowing that, and it just fell right into their trap.
Yep. Now, not to get kind of too over reactionary here, but over the last 2 weeks, with Caleb looking as average as he has, I guess. Do you think he's in any trouble of not being the 1-1?
No, no,
You think he's 1-1 regardless?
yeah,
Okay, so just no real worry there.
no. I mean, what we saw is what we knew about him. He's someone that likes to play off script. He's someone that likes to scramble around and you know buy time for his receiver. So we knew that, and you know, in the past, teams really couldn't stop him. You know, they have Utah coming up, and in the Pac-12, Utah's got that best defense, and Utah was able to kind of figure him out last year. So whenever he's played those better defenses, he's been kind of stopped that way. So I feel it's more play calling than anything. He's doing what he's always done. It's just when he faces better defenses, he needs help.
Right. I've just been seeing some reports over the last couple weeks saying that some teams have a higher grade on Drake May, um, and that and then the fact that there's been reports out there saying Caleb Williams is kind of asking for some kind of off the wall things.
And then if a certain team is number one or number two, he'll stay because he can get more money with the
Right.
NIL.
And also, he wants like partial ownership in whoever drafts him. I saw that earlier too. That's kind of a weird thing, kind of a weird thing to ask for, especially for a rookie.
Was that him or his dad? Because like there's been talks about his dad's just asking for crazy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you know, either way, that's kind of weird asks, and
Yeah,
even if it is his dad, he's getting lumped into that. So,
yeah.
um, so there's definitely a couple of things to keep an eye on whenever it comes to Caleb Williams right now. How about your boy Keon Coleman at Florida State? You know, Johnny Wilson Johnny Wilson was out this past week, and Keon Coleman showed that he can take over a game himself.
Yeah, he did everything. Receiving the return game, like he was Mr. Do It All for them. And I think some people kind of felt that Johnny Wilson being on the other side that he benefited from that, and he showed that he doesn't need anybody, that he can just take over a game whenever, wherever.
I almost think Johnny Wilson being on the other side is a detriment to what Keon Coleman can do. I mean, he had that big game against LSU, but then ever since then he hasn't really done much until Johnny Wilson was out, and all of a sudden he looked spectacular. That one-handed grab was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Next guy, Ollie Gordon, running back out of Oklahoma State. He looked like the best player on the field the other day.
Yeah.
He great runner out of the backfield, really dynamic catching the ball. Also, he led the team in both rushing and receiving. Just a really, really well-rounded player.
Yeah, he's someone that's always flirted with breaking out, and like for whatever reason, the coaching staff has been really hard on him. They've always criticized his practicing and all of that, and like some players just need more time to figure everything out, and it seems like he's figured it all out, and he's playing great. I still have that conundrum about him on if he's a legit Devy asset or if he's more of a CFF asset, because you with that offense, we know that offense caters to the running backs, and that offense gets running backs to the NFL. But I just question the overall package with Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, I definitely want to see more out of him. I want to see it be more than 1 or 2 games at a time. I want to see it be a prolonged stretch, and if he's consistent with that, then yeah, he becomes a Devy asset in my mind. I mean, he has the right running back build.
Yeah.
You want to see, and then the fact that he can really kind of turn on those jets, and get away from people. I really like that. Especially with kind of what the NFL has been moving towards.
Yeah.
They're moving towards that running back by committee anyways. You have very, very few bell cow backs out there. There's not many Derrick Henrys and Christian McCaffreys out there anymore.
Yeah.
So a guy like Ollie Gordon, I think, has a really good shot at the NFL. We're gonna move on to this North Carolina offense. Wide receiver Tez Walker blew up, and Omarion Hampton has been really, really solid for them. Hampton went for almost 200 yards again. I think he went for 197. And then Tez Walker had 6 catches for well over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's great that Devontae Walker has been able to come back and play this year.
Yeah, it was definitely his coming out party, and I feel great for him because after everything that he's been through, and there was a time where when he was ruled ineligible, and it looked like he might not get to play, like his NFL hopes could have been gone because he would have been, I believe, 24 or 25 next year. Would have been 6 years out of high school. No Drake May. That would have been the end of him. But with him being able to come back this year in his second game to show out like that, really good for him. And I think, he's right up there. He could easily get day 2 draft capital. He has that speed, and he has that burst, and he showed what he can do.
Yeah. I think this year was going to be his only year at North Carolina, regardless of what happened. This was totally a draft year for him. I didn't see any way he was going to come back for another season unless he just didn't get any NFL buzz at all.
Yeah.
Which that wasn't going to happen. He was getting NFL buzz while he was at Kent State. So
yeah.
Then again, Omarion Hampton has really, really looked good there for North Carolina. He had over 200 yards a few weeks ago, and then busted out with 197 again his past week as a true sophomore. What do you think his prospects are next year coming out of the draft?
I think it'll be interesting. I want to see how he does without Drake May. You know, with Drake May being there, he benefits from Drake May audibly out of a bad situation and get him in there. You know, he when I watch him run, he at times will run like a plotter, but he has legit verified over 20 miles an hour, I believe, this year. So the speed is there. I really don't know. He to me he's in the same bucket as Javante Barnes from Oklahoma, except he has he's playing, he's doing it actually on the field. So he has that same build, and I just don't know. I just have to see more. I don't know.
I actually like him quite a bit. People were kind of big on that kind of lightning and thunder um, capability with or potential with him and Petaway.
Yeah.
But Petaway's not doing anything. But and if Hampton can show that he has that type of speed, then I think he has good potential as a very possible day two running back in the class of 2025.
Yeah, next year's class has, I believe, three heavy hitters, and then the rest they just have to sort themselves out.
Yeah, see, next year you'll have Singleton and Katron Allen, Judkins, and then I guess you could probably throw Hampton then kind of right after those type of guys.
Yeah.
Um, it's about that time. Caden Fegan season happening right now. He I've been really high on him ever since the off season. Just that he's a Braylon Allen clone, and the fact that they've kind of turned the reins over to him with some injuries, he looked pretty good the other day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad that he's starting to gain that trust with the coaching staff, and getting more opportunities, and he's showing that he deserves that chance and to be out there, and he's doing it as a true freshman. That's great.
Yeah, I've got him in nearly every C2C I'm in. I think I've got him in all but one, maybe two of the C2C leagues I'm in, and I'm in like 12 of them. So very high on Caden Fegan. Torrey Horton came back off that injury from a couple weeks ago. Didn't look like he missed a step.
No, he's doing great.
Wow. 10 catches, um, and really carrying that offense there for Colorado State.
Yeah, like we know what he does. He is benefiting a lot from running those short crossers with the other receivers or tight ends clearing out for him, and they're scheming him up and they're doing everything right with him. Do you think he gets day two draft capital, or is he an early day three guy for you?
He is probably a late third, early fourth round type of wide receiver in my opinion. I think he's going to have to catch on in a good situation. I don't think he's going to be able to come in and be your your team's wide receiver two.
Yeah.
Maybe he can come in and be that third option for an NFL team, to start off with, and then kind of build from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think if a team falls in love with him, he can get end of day two. But I'm thinking kind of early day three
Yeah.
is where I'm gonna have him.
Yeah, that's about right. Kind of late third, early fourth
Yeah.
type of guy. Yeah. Another guy right here, been killing it. Ashton Jeanty for Boise State. One of the G5 running backs that we're really high on. We think has an NFL future. Good runner, good pass catcher out of the backfield. Again, another guy who's carrying his offense. That Boise State team wouldn't be anywhere without him, and they're not a very good team as it is.
Yeah, I believe there was possible indication that George Halani might be out for the year. So if that is, all systems go for Janti.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think Kalani was anywhere near the talent that Junty is. So if you have him in your C2C CFF leagues, you're obviously firing him up. But he's a guy you need to keep an eye on as far as Devy potential also.
Yeah.
You have an under the radar Devy guy you want to talk about, Andy. Go ahead and fill us in on him.
Yeah, so it's Utah State wide receiver Jalen Royals. He's had 7 touchdowns in the past 9 quarters. And, G5 guys are kind of getting buzzed nowadays. We were talking about Horton and then Malachi Corley. So, this is a guy that, take note, Utah State has a great offensive system that produced numbers. And so it's a good system to be in to kind of get eyeballs on you. The issue with Utah State is that they've always had smaller guys kind of do like 5'7", 5'8" guys. So you don't really take them seriously as a Devy guy. Now with this guy, he went the JUCO route in Georgia, and he flew out to Utah State to attend a camp just to get noticed. And he is a verified 6 feet tall athlete, 187 pounds, verified at 4'3" in the 40. And coming out of high school, he was an unranked prospect, but now on On3, they have him as a 4-star wide receiver. Now, when I watched tape on him at Utah State, this was my notes that I have on him. Royals is a fluid mover with suddenness in and out of breaks, accelerates at top speed within strides, no wasted movement, has a strong jab step that makes corners react, and has speed to take the top off the defense. And he's also strong at the catch point. Now with this guy, he's literally come out of nowhere. He was on the roster last year, but he didn't do anything. He had no stats. And they interviewed him earlier in the season about, everything that's going on. He said that the main issue was confidence. He didn't have any confidence in himself. He didn't feel the coaching staff had any confidence in him. And, he is working hard at his craft and it's paying off. Now he's currently a junior, so he has 1 year left. He's someone that, if you're in a C2C league, he's at worst a weekly flex. And at best, you might get, an early day 3 kind of a guy that has jumped out of nowhere. So he's someone that definitely needs to be rostered.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It also helps. He's got a pretty decent quarterback playing with him in Cooper Legas.
Yeah.
That, like you said, that offense it isn't shy about throwing the ball around right now.
Yeah,
he's one of the main targets.
They want to snap that ball with 30 plus seconds left on the clock. So they want plays after plays.
Yeah. There's actually one more guy I'm wanting to talk about tonight. I know you've been kind of high on him the last couple weeks. Also, Arizona running back Jonah Coleman. He looks like the guy there right now, especially with Michael Wiley out, and the fact that I think he's only a sophomore, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So he's going to be around for at least one more year for you, possibly 2. And with the type of production he's been giving them, that offense has actually kind of taken off the last couple weeks, especially since Jane Delores gotten was kind of taken out there. That offense has been looking good with Fafita and with Jonah Coleman and those 2 receivers. I'm actually pretty excited about that I've been able to get Coleman the last couple weeks in a few of my leagues.
Yeah, every time he touches the ball, he is explosive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could tell the difference between him and Wiley. Yeah. I mean, Coleman's got the juice.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Andy, go ahead and tell us where we're able to find you. I know we've had a couple of issues with the website the last couple of days. We're trying to get some stuff loaded up, kind of recovered. But go and tell us what you've been working on and what's around the corner for you.
You can find me at Andy_fam1, doing 3 articles a week. Typically do a player profile every Thursday. Have a Xavier Leggett, JJ McCarthy, and a few others coming up, including like a Evan Stewart and some other 2025 guys to take note and where you can buy low now to take advantage of that in your C2C leagues. Then on Friday, we do a Devy and C2C game preview. And then Mondays, we do a Devy stock up, stock down, and C2C names to watch for your waiver.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Like I said, we're working on getting a couple of things recovered there. We've switched servers, so some stuff that has gone on the website over the last couple of days has just kind of vanished. So we're trying to get it recovered and get it put up there so we can get that out to you guys. But that's going to do it for tonight. I'm Tommy Harvey for Andy Pham. We will see you Thursday, I guess.